over 100 pupils down in the Eastern Cape have been hospitalized. Excuse me, it's believed they fell ill after eating food that was poisoned. Tests are yet to be concluded. The health department is saying many of them suffering from abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting. Others presented with a shortness of breath. We're obviously all very concerned. The department's spokesperson, Dr. Sizwe Kupela, making time for me. Dr. Kupela, good morning. Let me first start off by asking, what is the condition of the pupils? Hello.
Thank you very much. A total of 51 learners ended up at Frontier Hospital in Komani, where clinical tests were conducted and treatment administered. We only have one patient who only arrived late after 6 last night, and that patient remains in a stable condition at the ICU.
When we talk about 100 pupils, over 100 pupils being hospitalized, do we know, doctor, if they're all from the same school? What details can you give me?
History is that they were from 2 different schools. Of that 120, only 51 ended up at the Preventative hospital. Others went to a clinic, they were managed and discharged. 51 ended up at the hospital, so where extensive clinical investigations had to be conducted. Some have since been discharged. I think we left with just over 30 now, with one being treated at the ICU.
Yeah, and of the 51 in hospital, any of them life-threatening conditions?
That one now, the condition is stable. Last night on arrival, she was in a critical condition, but there's a good work that's been done by our clinicians. At least now, her condition is stable.
We are hearing that it's over 120 pupils being reported at the moment. The allegation, Dr. Kupela, is that it's food poisoning. Can you confirm?
Yes, we can confirm that all the patients were being treated for foodborne disease. A history is that they consumed various items, which include muffins, snacks and frozen drinks, which were allegedly received from a hawker who sold the items outside the premises of a school.
I'm sorry, the line broke up ever so slightly, Dr. Kupela. I heard you say mushrooms and snacks. You were saying bought from vendors outside the school property. Is that correct?
Yeah, not mushrooms, muffins, scones, snacks, as well as frozen drinks. Yes. In as far as the history given by the patient to the treating staff, they got those from a vendor from outside the school.
Do we know who this member of the public is? Have they been spoken to by the police? Have they been arrested?
Apart from clinical investigations, the officials from Environmental Health Services of the Crescent District Municipality, as well as the Provincial Department of Health, are currently embarking on that area. So those investigations are continuing.
How involved are the SAPS? How are they assisting you?
The team that is working on establishing the facts and conducting the tests, because also tests that were to be conducted include toxicology. So I'm sure that as they continue the investigations, law enforcement will also have to be taken on board. But this started last night, and the processes are continuing.
What are the parents of the children saying? What are they expecting from the health department?
We focused on treating the patients as they arrived at the hospital, and the priority was to ensure that we manage them clinically. So the team, the other team, would be seized with those consulting all stakeholders involved, including the parents.
When you now look at the school itself, what is the status of the school as of this morning?
The team that's looking at all the circumstances outside the hospital will have to consult all stakeholders. And I'm sure the team would end up being a multidisciplinary team to look at all angles in as far as what may have led to the situation that we ended up with. From the side of the department was to focus on treating the patients as they were received.
No, of course I understand. You're triaging the situation. I completely understand, Dr. Kupela. What's the advice from the Department then of Health in the Eastern Cape to other schools? Because now, sadly, this is not the first time we've heard of children and learners at schools being poisoned, it seems, by buying food from outside the schools. What's the advice to other schools in the Eastern Cape from your department?
Not necessarily the schools only. Generally to the public, I would like to urge people to always take extra precautions around food handling, and also ensuring that items they purchase from retail shop and elsewhere, they always look at the issues around expiry dates to ensure that they consume safe food. Of course, it also calls for frequent monitoring and inspections by relevant departments.
Talk to me about those relevant departments, Dr. Kupela. Who are the relevant departments? You can't do this all by yourself. It's yourself as the health department, SAPS. Who else is involved? Who else is helping you?
The issue of health environmental services is with district municipalities, but we work together as government, and I'm sure there's going to be meetings that will look at the current situation, because as you say, around the country there's been a series of such incidents being reported.
This has been a problem around the country, as I mentioned, Dr. Kupela, as well. How concerned are you that the situation could spiral out of control?
We would like to focus our energies on the health aspect, because it is our responsibility to ensure that members of the public are protected. Of course, there are a number of elements that would have to be looked at, including education and public awareness, because it's critical in ensuring that people remain safe in as far as these matters are concerned.
With this many pupils, you imagine there's going to be national interest, Dr. Kupela. Last question to you then. What's the next update? When are you expecting to update the country?
This has happened at a provincial level, and I'm responsible for the province. We are monitoring the developments there, but what is good now, our clinicians have managed the situation very well. We remain concerned about the one patient that is at the ICU, but we are happy with the progress made over the last few hours.
All right, well, and not a good story to be starting our show off with this morning, but it sounds like the Eastern Cape Health Department are doing everything they can. Multidisciplinary investigation, they say. That was Dr. Sizwe Kupela from the Eastern Cape Health Department. We're hearing reports between 100 and 120 pupils hospitalized. It's suspected food poisoning, not on the premises of the school they were attending. It's understood, and this has not been verified, but it's understood that the food was bought off-site at a vendor that was in the area as well. One of those pupils, just one, thankfully, is in ICU at the moment. 51 of the 120 are in hospital. So, of course, we're going to stay on that. We know just a few weeks ago the tragic death of two little boys out in Soweto after eating biscuits that had expired as well. So you can imagine our team are chasing down all the various sources on this story. We'll bring you the latest as we get it here on Newslink. My thanks to the doctor from the Eastern Cape Health Department.